He didn't steal anything. He didn't hurt anyone. He was innocent. But he still said the words, "I plead guilty." Because the system gave him a choice. Plead guilty and go home. Or fight the charges and risk 20 years behind bars. This is the reality for thousands of people in the United States. People who never committed a crime, but confessed anyway. Not because they were guilty, but because they were trapped. Marcus Hill was 19 years old, a freshman in college, studying business and working part-time at a grocery store. No criminal record. No trouble with the law. One night, after closing shift, he walked home like he always did. 10 minutes later, he was surrounded by flashing lights and officers shouting at him to get on the ground. A robbery had just occurred 2 blocks away. A man was mugged outside a liquor store. The suspect was described vaguely. Tall, black, wearing a hoodie. That was enough. Marcus fit the description. He was cuffed and taken in. They questioned him for hours. He kept repeating the same thing. "I didn't do anything. I was walking home from work." "I don't know what you're talking about." He gave them his manager's number. He gave them his phone, which showed a time-stamp location proving he was at the store. But no one called. No one checked. They had what they wanted. A suspect who looked the part. Marcus sat in a holding cell for nearly 48 hours before being officially charged with robbery and assault. His bail was set too high for his mother to afford. So he stayed behind bars. 11 days passed before he saw a judge. By then, he'd missed his midterm exams, lost his job. His name had already been printed in the local paper. That day in court, the prosecutor approached him with an offer. Plead guilty to a reduced charge. No jail time, just probation. Or risk going to trial and face up to 20 years if convicted. Marcus was confused. He thought it was obvious he was innocent. He thought the truth would save him. But his public defender leaned in and said, "They don't care. If you fight this and lose, they'll make an example out of you. Take the deal." Marcus didn't know what to do. He hadn't seen the evidence. He hadn't talked to his mother in days. He was tired. He was scared. And so, with his voice trembling, he stood up and said, "I plead guilty." The gavel dropped. The courtroom moved on. And Marcus walked out with a conviction he didn't deserve. At first, he thought it was over. But it wasn't. That guilty plea followed him everywhere. When he applied for jobs. When he tried to transfer colleges. When he looked for housing. When he applied for scholarships. Every background check became a silent rejection. Every interview, a reminder. He was now a criminal in the eyes of the world. Even though he never stole anything. Even though he was never proven guilty. Even though the only thing he did was plead guilty to get his life back. Marcus tried to move on. He worked odd jobs. Took online courses. But it haunted him. 3 years later, a non-profit law clinic began reviewing cases like his. A volunteer lawyer reached out. They pulled his file. They found what should have been found from day one. No surveillance footage. No fingerprints. No physical evidence. Just a vague description and a scared teenager who said the wrong words to survive. They filed a motion to overturn the conviction. Presented his original alibi. Provided phone records, timestamps, witness statements. But the judge refused. Because in the court's eyes, Marcus had confessed. He had pled guilty. And that meant he must have done something wrong. Even with no trial, no evidence, no justice, Marcus still lives with that record. He still carries the weight of something he didn't do. And he's not alone. In America, over 97% of criminal convictions come from plea deals. Not jury trials. Not careful investigation. Just pressure. Just exhaustion. Just fear. People plead guilty because the system is designed to punish those who don't. Because the risk of trial is too high. Because public defenders are overwhelmed. Because prosecutors want easy wins. And because innocence doesn't guarantee freedom. So next time someone says, well, they pled guilty, so they must be guilty. Remember Marcus. Remember the fear. Remember the choice between freedom and a lifetime behind bars. Sometimes the truth is buried under paperwork. Buried under fear. Buried under a broken system that no longer cares who's right. Only who's quick to confess. Justice should never be a gamble. But for thousands like Marcus, that's exactly what it is.